All right, so the question was, what are seller concessions and how can it potentially help me when I'm going to buy a house? So, seller concessions aren't appropriate in every market. When it's a super seller's market and you have 30 people bidding on every house, it's probably going to be pretty difficult to get seller concessions. You start to see some people like not do home inspections, which I think is a terrible mistake, and stuff like that. Asking for seller concessions probably wouldn't be super effective in that kind of environment. Having said that, they still come through, and as the market softens a little bit, as we see it shift, not into necessarily a buyer's market, but less of a seller's market, as we see some opportunities for buyers. One of those opportunities is seller concessions. Okay, so maybe not available on every deal, but when they are, it can be a strong tool that buyers can use to be able to maybe purchase a little more house, spend a little less upfront. So the way it would look is, let's say you have a house that you really like that is listed at $200,000. And let's say it's been on the market for 3 weeks and has not gone under contract yet. No one has made a full price offer yet, but they also haven't reduced it. They haven't lowered it from 200 to 190 or anything like that, right? If you went to buy the house today, you may say, okay, I'm not going to offer a full 200,000. I'd like to offer 195, right? Well, what I would suggest is maybe instead of offering 195, if you want to save yourself a little money up front, offer the full 200,000, but ask them for $5,000 back in a seller concession. Okay, so for the sellers, it should be essentially the same net gain. Whether they would accept your offer for 195 or accept your offer for 200 and give you 5 back, either way they make 195, right? Minus whatever mortgage they have, whatever cost they have. They're going to, make 195 either way. For you, you are paying more for the house. You're buying it for 200,000 instead of 195,000. Your down payment would go up slightly, but you're going to be financing that much more. So your monthly payment might go up $25 a month, but it's going to save you $5,000 on the front end. Whereas you would have had, let's say, a 5% down payment of $10,000 and your closing costs were going to be about $5,000, and you're going to be bringing $15,000 to the closing table. Now you only have to bring 10 because the seller concession of $5,000 is going to essentially cover your closing costs in that scenario. So it allows you to bring less to the closing table. That $5,000 may feel like a large amount in this home purchase. You're already putting $10,000 down for the down payment, right? And $5,000 may feel like a large amount, whereas the $25 a month may not feel, that like that affects you that much. So it's just another tool that buyers can use to put themselves in the best position when they're going to buy a house. Now that $25 a month, that doesn't really affect you too much, right? You budgeted for that. It's going to free up $5,000 that maybe can buy furniture after you close or whatever other purposes. Let's say you only had about $12,000 in the bank to do this whole thing anyways, then you would need the seller concessions to be able to get to that $200,000 price point. So something to consider. Not available on every deal, but when it is, it's a very useful tool, and I'd be happy to explain it even further if you have any other questions.